I'm Molly, and this is the old jail. And we will go inside in a little bit. I want to tell you a little bit about the pillory. And this is what it's called as a pillory. The difference between a pillory and stocks is the stocks you're sitting. The pillory, your ears and head are locked in there. Some cases, your ears were nailed to it, and that was like for perjury. And if it was willful perjury, after an hour, they're severed, cut from your head and left there until the sun goes down. Doesn't that sound like fun? The other reason, people went by and threw rotten tomatoes and fish and stuff like that at you. Other reasons you put it there is like for stealing and drunkenness, things like that. And sometimes for stealing, they'll cut a little piece out of your ear so you're marked for life. And so somebody will know you always, or anywhere you go, that you have been stole something. Isn't that fun? Now the jail was moved over here all in one piece. It weighed 500 tons. It's like 28 inches thick. It was built in 1829 and moved over here in 1977. Now that was a feat because the contractor went bankrupt moving it over here, because when he came down with 500 tons on our little streets, the streets just kind of caved in with the weight. And when he got just about here, he left it and left town. So we had to call in somebody else to come move it over here on the grounds. So we'll go inside, and you'll notice when we go in, the walkway is like 28 inches thick. And by the way, the jail is all brick. The white stucco was just put over it later years. Once you get inside, you must remember that when it was first built, this whole piece wasn't here, it was open. And you have the room over here for the jailer and his family that lived here, and it's like 14 inches thick. On this side over here is for the prisoners, and it's 18 inches thick. So, how would you like to be the jailer, living across from the prisoners? If you, I'll notice, of course, you have the large fireplace because the jailer's wife had to do all the cooking for the prisoners. And the only heat the prisoners got was what maybe drifted across under the door. And if you look over here to the right, you'll see a drawing of a man on the wall. You see how the feet are dangling? There was only one man ever hanged inside this jail. His name was Lawyer Bryan. He was hanged for murder. He shot a very prominent citizen in the back, and he was from Onslow County. And they didn't think he'd get a fair trial, so he was sent here to be tried. Didn't fare too well here. Over here, you'll notice Washington. You recognize Washington. This was taken from a painting in Charleston, South Carolina, in City Hall. And if you notice this pretty good rear view of the horse, and it seems as though the artist had been asked to draw Washington and his horse and put Charleston in the background. And when he finished, for some reason, they either didn't like it or didn't pay him or whatever, and he got very upset, and he took it back and reversed the horse. And you see in the background, Charleston burning. That was his revenge. Well, you've got the apple peeler. This is to get the cores out of the apple. This over here is a nutcracker. And it's really great because it doesn't smash them. It just cracks them where you can just take the whole nut out. This actually is in backwards because this way bugs get in. This was on the outside. In later years, somebody changed it and put it on the outside so it looked better, I guess. But see, when it's like this, bugs can't get into the cabinet. And that is to put hot coals in to move from one place to another, start another fire right here. That's keys, gives you an idea of size keys for the sails. And the barrel, it could be for fish, different things like salted fish, couldn't be for pickles or anything like that because the juice would run out of it. So you have to keep it tightened. So that's, I mean, the whole thing's brick, but you can see where they put the stucco over the brick. And as for your ceiling, now your beams are only about this far apart. So that was in case the prisoners had gotten through the floor upstairs, they could not squeeze through the beams to get downstairs. Then they used to have a fence around the jail and a big dog out there. So if they did get out, they didn't have a chance. They said they never had anybody escape from here. Right here, there was another room on that side of the jail for women prisoners. So, ball and chain. And believe me, back then you had a ball and chain. If they took you out, they take them out for a walk. They always had the ball and chain on them. So they couldn't escape. And this side would be where the jailer and his wife slept. They did have a little fireplace up here, kept them warm. Didn't do much for the prisoners, but and of course your rope bed and the look, it's taller. So. I can't see much with a little baby doll. That's one of those scary like you see in the movies. This is also a bed warmer, or I say bed warmer, foot warmer. You put like in the wagons and everything to put your feet, and the hot coals go in the side. That would keep, your feet nice and warm. Your iron. Your irons, usually they'll have 2 or 3 on the fire, on the stove one time, because when one cools and you put the other one in, you go back and forth. But they're very heavy, make great door stops. Well, here is for the prisoners. Again, what you see here, we have the straw where they made their beds. And of course, no bathrooms, so it was also the bathroom. So in one corner, it had the straw for the bathroom. It had to be cleaned out quite a few times. And the other, you get the straw and make your own little bed. Sounds like fun, doesn't it? One of the punishments were that you could not speak. You were in a cell and you had somebody in there with you, but you were not allowed to speak. And have to be there and be quiet too. That's terrible, but that's the way it was. The courthouse, it was, you found guilty of a smaller crime, you were taken directly out to the pillory, the whipping post, or the stocks. There was no appeal. And people have to sit there and have picnics and watch all this going on. A man is always hanged. He's never hung. A man is always hanged from the neck until dead. There were 3 people hanged in Beaufort at this time. And one was in the jail and the other 2 were from a tree. And you got to remember that you had to have 12 feet at least to hang a man properly. Now, when I say properly, that means if not 12 feet, they'd choke to death. This way, it's going to break your neck right off. And so you didn't suffer. Be sure and come to Beaufort and come to the jail and take a look at what it would be like back in the 1800s.